Second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Dr. LMadu, and the topic is the death of Osama Bin Laden and the future of Al-Qaeda. And of course, Dr. LMadu, let's continue our conversation that you were giving us some information in reference to some of Bin Laden's activities before he became famous, or more famous. Let's talk about it from that perspective.
Yeah, in Afghanistan, you know, he was protected by the Taliban under Mullah Omar. In fact, he pledged a personal oath of allegiance to Mullah Omar, who was the leader of the Taliban, and also called the Amir al-Mu'minin, meaning father, you know, commander of the faithful. You know, so because of that personal loyalty oath to Mullah Omar, he found it impossible, you know, to kick him out of Afghanistan with his group, you see. And however, one has to understand, how did Al-Qaeda, you know, come into existence? The word Al-Qaeda was first used in an article written by Dr. Abdullah Azzam in 1988. You know, and the real, you know, context is Al-Qaeda al-Subha, meaning solid base. So when Bin Laden formed this organization, he called it Al-Qaeda, meaning the base, and left out the solid. Prior to that time, there were two different organizations. You had the Egyptian Islamic Jihad, led by Ayman al-Zawahiri from Egypt. And then you had Osama Bin Laden's Arab Brigades, which he later changed to, you know, to the Lion's Den. His name, Osama, means lion. Then in 1998, he and Zawahiri organized an international conference of terrorists in Afghanistan and merged their two organizations to become Al-Qaeda. Yeah, exactly, in 1998, under Taliban protection. So in 2001, you know, when this, you know, happened. Yeah, when they attacked Twin Towers, you know, in New York, President Bush asked, you know, Mullah Omar to, you know, kick out Bin Laden, but Mullah Omar refused for two reasons. A, Bin Laden had already pledged oath of allegiance to him personally as Emir al-Mu'minin, you know, commander of the faithful, and two, because of Bin Laden's financial assistance to the Taliban. And you don't forget that Bin Laden had a construction company himself that he was using also to construct, you know, buildings and roads for the Taliban, which he was doing in the Sudan before. So when the American troops came in, you know, he moved to Tora Bora, which is the mountain close to the Pakistani border, and from there disappeared. You know, nobody knew where he went to. Some said he was in Pakistan, some said he was in Afghanistan. Nobody actually had, you know, a firm
hard evidence as to where he really was.
Or where he really was. You know, nobody expected him to be living in a house in, you know, Pakistan. But that's what happened. Now the question is, did the Pakistani government participate, you know, in giving him sanctuary and shelter in Pakistan?
That's the million-dollar question, I believe, Dr.
That's correct. Some have said, yeah, they must have known. How come the government didn't know he was there? My honest belief is that the official government of Pakistan did not know he was there. But the unofficial, you know, unofficial, I mean rogue elements in the intelligence service, in the army and all this, knew he was there, and they facilitated his protection. My belief in this arises from two different angles. A, there's a man called General Hamid Gul. Hamid Gul was the director of the Inter-Services Intelligence, the powerful intelligence service of, you know, Pakistan. He was in charge when Benazir Bhutto was, you know, prime minister. Then another man called General Mirza Aslam Beg. He was chief of staff of the Pakistani Armed Forces. Both of them are anti-American, pro-Osama Bin Laden. In fact, Bin Laden met, you know, General Hamid Gul in 1993 in Peshawar, Pakistan. Since then, they've been friends. So my hunch is that Hamid Gul and Aslam Beg and other elements of the you know, who were ex-Pakistanis, you know, officers, facilitated his, you know, being in Pakistan with other Al-Qaeda operatives, because both of them were firm supporters of Osama Bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, and also other, what we call terrorist groups, which Hamid Gul called Islamic militants, fighting against Western, oppression.
Now, so this is the group that the president talks about, his support group in there. That it, and some people have thought it might be the government, but you're suggesting that perhaps it was not the government.
No, for some reasons. During the government of General Pervez Musharraf, who was the president of Pakistan from 1999 till about 2008, okay, Al-Qaeda tried to assassinate him 2 times. One on December 14th, 2003, again on December 25th, 2003. So Musharraf wouldn't have, signed on protecting those who want to assassinate him, period. Now, under the present government of Asif Zardari, who is the husband of Benazir Bhutto, it will be impossible too, because Al-Qaeda assassinated his wife, and they will assassinate him if they have the opportunity. Now some people might say, well, Zardari doesn't actually control the government, which in a way is true, because Zardari is a democratically elected government, president of Pakistan, but actually the military runs the government from behind. Okay. So those 2 factors makes it impossible for the Pakistani, official government and military to facilitate Bin Laden's stay in Abbottabad. But like I said initially, Abbottabad is not new as a place for terrorists to hide. In fact, during the government of President Pervez Musharraf, one of the most important Al-Qaeda operatives, Abu Faraj al-Libi, was captured. In
that same city.
He lived in Abbottabad. He lived in 3 houses. The first time Musharraf's soldiers went there to capture him, he had 3 houses he lived in. They went to the first house, but he was staying in the third house, so he escaped. They came again twice. They couldn't get him. He sent somebody to deputize for him, who was killed. So a whole lot of them lived in Abbottabad, okay, under openly, with the protection of this underground former ex-Pakistani soldiers.
And so, in a real sense, it was just a terrorist atmosphere in that whole town, and it would have been almost impossible for the unofficial folks not to know it. Somebody, and the president, in a real sense, is probably correct when he said that there was a great support system for him at that particular time. Is that what we're saying?
That's correct. Hamid Gul and others, who were in Pakistan, military before.
And of course, let us take this second commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.